There's a lot of noise going around about Chinese watchmaking on the internet, and at the forefront of this noise is this brand, Atelier Wen. Now, a couple of blokes, Wilfred and Robin, have gone all in on getting pretty much everything you see here manufactured in China. And I don't mean cheaply. We've got top level CNC machining, micro hand hammered enamel dial, baguette diamonds, and copious amounts of attention to finer detail. Now for me, this is a flex. It's basically a demonstration of what's possible to achieve in the area of detailing and perceived value at a relatively affordable price. And I use the term affordable very loosely. Let's check this thing out. Now, there is a lot of noise in the internet going around about Chinese watchmaking, and I think these guys here, Atelier Wen, they seem to be showcasing what is possible from their previous couple of models to today. The level of quality and attention to detail seems to have gone up and up. Now, all this stuff does come at a cost, and for me, I do have my reservations about this particular watch because it's not cheap. Coming in at 5,850 USD, that's not inexpensive by any means. So there's a lot of other watches you can get for that money. So you really got to want to get this watch for that sort of cash. Now, I'm not here to tell you buy this watch or don't buy this watch. For me, I've spent a week with it. I'm going to tell you what it's like to live with because, to be honest, I don't think you can actually buy it anymore anyway. Several weeks ago, Atelier Wen had a window open where you could buy this watch, and I believe that window is closed. So for me, I've never been a big fan of quick guys, rush, hurry, put your money down, buy watches. I'm not a fan of that sort of stuff, but I'm telling you what I've got in my hands. For those who have committed, for those who have bought this watch, or potentially, if you're going to see any of these watches coming up on the pre-owned market in the next year or two, I'll tell you what it's been like on my wrist. Now, diving straight into the specifications of this watch, I measure a case diameter of 38 and a case height of 11.3. The lug to lug is 45.8 and a lug width of 20. That crown is a 5.5mm signed screw down crown. The watch offers 100 meters of water resistance, and the total weight of the watch head I measure at 51 grams and the supplied leather strap at 8 grams exactly. Now on the wrist, these measurements are very, very wearable. I've had zero issues in the area of comfort, height, weight. It's been a no-brainer. So I think in that department, this watch is designed very well. Now, as you see, I've actually swapped it out for an Artem strap. I think the white with a contrasting blue just seems to suit the watch much nicer, although I have worn it with a supplied leather strap. I just think visually it looks so much nicer this way, but that's just me. Now, the interesting part of this case, it's a 5-piece construction of 904L stainless steel. So I think showcasing quality materials, very fine brushing, extremely delicate high polished areas, I think they've used the textures here very well. And there's even an underside sapphire crystal on that exhibition caseback, which showcases their movement. And I did say that this is a flex of showing attention to detail. Well, number one, that movement is pretty much the only part of this watch which is not Chinese. It's a French brand that's been around for quite a while, and this particular caliber EPM03 produces 65 hours of power reserve, runs at 4 Hz. It's adjusted in 6 positions, which in the production version should offer COSC accuracy. Now, it does have hacking and hand winding, and if you notice close up, that skeletonized rotor is made of rose gold plated tungsten. So it's little attention to details like this, which we know enhances a watch, but this has gone a little bit further, because that 3/4 plate has 446 Chinese characters etched into it. It's basically a Chinese poem about heavenly questions. Now, I can't read it personally, but I can tell you the attention to detail, the crispness of that etching is extremely impressive. Now, turning the watch back over and looking at that dial, it's a micro hammered dial, which combined with that translucent degradé enamel, it gives a very unusual effect. For me, it seems to have been playing with the light throughout the week very nicely. Having a hand-hammered dial like this, number one, the skill set is at a particular level, but number two, every single dial is going to be unique. Every single hammered finish, every single enamel finish, it's all going to be unique to each individual watch. So I get that. I understand the artisan aspect of this watch and the amount of attention to detail that's gone into it so far. Now, on a value perspective, this watch looks very expensive. It really does, to me anyway. At 5,850 USD or 9,000 Australian dollars, there's a lot of other watches I'd be first looking at before I look at this. So you'd have to be a particular type of person to want to buy something like this. Maybe you know that no one else is going to have one, or there's not many that are going to be made. So as a collectible watch or something that's unique and limited, sure, I get that. As far as quality finishing in the hand, and this is a prototype, I've actually not been able to find faults with it regarding its execution, the brushing, the transitions. I've gotten close up with my macro. There are a couple of little small niggles which I could touch on, but again, it is a prototype, so I don't really care too much for that. But I do have a couple of question marks for this watch that I would personally consider maybe could have been thought out differently, and one of them is that seconds hand. It's not there. There's no seconds hand. So I understand getting a watch that's very accurate, and this is pretty much regulated to COSC certification. However, there's no sweeping seconds hand. To enjoy the sweep, or to really get a gauge on how accurate it really is, you've sort of got to go off that minute hand and see how the watch is gauging after several days. But again, you probably wouldn't buy a watch like this because of its accuracy, but it would have been nice to have that seconds hand sweeping, just to get a visual cue that the watch is alive. Now, I did mention at the start of this video that I was going to mention about what my experience has been on the wrist, and as far as comfort, it's been an ideal watch. It's been no-brainer. It's been lightweight, it's been easy on the wrist. The lug-to-lug has been great, the height has been great, there's been no problems wearing this watch. However, in the area of legibility, sometimes I've not been able to get a gauge on what time it is in certain lighting scenarios. And I get it, there's always going to be a trade-off with a watch like this. When you've got a hammered finish, you've got baguette diamonds, you've got Chinese characters, you've got highly intricate silver hands with a lot of attention to detail. There's a lot of things going on here. Now, they do seem to work with each other. And I believe with those Chinese characters, there was an option on their website that you could have got this with Arabics. For me, it sort of kind of defeats the purpose because it is a Chinese manufactured watch showcasing what can come out of China. I think keeping it true to form in this format with the Chinese characters is probably a smarter idea. Now, another thing that I want to touch on is that crown. It is a screw down crown. The watch offers 100 meters of water resistance, and I think number one, they potentially could have avoided a screw-down crown here. I don't think there's a necessity for it. Even having just a standard crown, there are gaskets and seal technology today that can easily get 100 meters without having the crown being screwed down. But that's not really my dilemma. I have found difficulty using this crown because it is very thin, very small, coming in at 5.5mm. The winding experience or the latch down experience has been a little bit tricky. It's a very similar experience what you get from a vintage watch, when the crowns were a little bit more difficult to use. So that's one area where, although the detailing in that crown and the finishing is very nice, its functionality and usability could have been a little bit better. Now lastly, from Atelier Wen's first couple of models to this one, I've seen the prices go progressively higher, but also the attention to detail and the finishing and the execution also increase. So basically, as I mentioned, you've got a couple of blokes that are showcasing the crafts that are available in China. Top level CNC machining, hand finishing, execution and attention to detail that we see from very expensive brands on the market today. And I think if this was a Swiss watch, if it was made in Switzerland with what's offered here, it probably cost 3 times the price, if not more. So I hope you enjoyed that, my take on this Atelier Wen Ancestra. A very blingy watch with its baguette diamonds, but also very subdued. Somehow it seems to work and tone itself down. Quietly showcase the amount of work that's gone into this watch only when you really get up close and personal and have a good hard long look at what's really going on. So hit me up in the comments, let me know what you think of this particular watch or even this particular brand. Continue to enjoy this hobby and one another, and we'll see you in the next one.